everyone, and welcome back to Dr. Music Podcast. Always great to have you. My subscribers, always great to have you. So appreciate you. If you're not a subscriber, please consider hitting that button. I'd greatly appreciate it. It gives me opportunities to bring you great guests, like Dave Anthony from Ten Ton Mojo. Dave is the singer and harmonica player for hard rock band Ten Ton Mojo, out of New York. They have been in existence since 2010, and they've shared stages with John Five, Scott Weiland, Quiet Riot, Molly Hatchet, and the list goes on and on. The band had a self-titled full-length debut back in 2013 and has released a 4-song EP and quite a few singles since that time. We're going to talk about that interim time. Their latest single on Curtain Call Records is called Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul. It rocks. And Dave here is here to tell us all about it and what else the band might have in store for us. Dave, it's great to have you, man.
Thanks, Scott. Great being here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. We were talking before. It's we don't. These bands like what you do is few and far between now. It's classic rock. It's a heavy classic rock. And that's kind of I'm an old school guy, as visually you can tell. I miss that. I miss those bands, the Skinners, the Bad Companies, that kind of thing. You guys just tap into that. It's really great. Is that intentional when you're writing and stuff to take us back there, or is that just what you guys do?
No, I mean it's kind of what we do, but also intentional, I guess, in a way. I mean, it's just the music that we all really enjoy. I mean, I grew up, I guess grunge era would probably have been the era that I grew up in, and I remember I look back on it greatly now. But I remember when it first was coming out, I was like, this stuff sucks. I want the 60s and 70s stuff.
Right.
And it's definitely the sound we go for. We like to call ourselves the new classic rock.
Yeah, and it is, man. You mentioned that '90s era, and I'm just a musical person. I like all kinds of music, and when the '90s came, I dove in like everybody else. I picked up everything that was from Seattle, and you know what I mean. But I never forgot what was at my core, and all the other music. And I think a lot of fans, they move to one thing and they stay there, and everything else gets shut out. I'm not sure why that happens, but it's great that it's come back around, and we have a band like yourselves. It's killer. Yeah.
No, thanks. I mean, we're loving it. We're having a great ride about it, and I think as we were talking before it came on, it's kind of a rarity these days to have original bands now. It just feels like
Mhm.
we're sort of an anomaly, but we love doing it. We're really happy that we are doing well on the original scene, and it's just something that feel God blessed to be doing.
Yeah, and then it reminded me, and I just latched onto you guys, and you've been around for quite a while, and I apologize for that. I'm not sure why that's like that, but recently I had a chance to. So I had interviewed somebody, and they were the opening band for Texas Hippie Coalition, which I know you guys know those guys.
Yeah, we opened
Um,
for them twice, actually.
yeah, yeah. That'd be amazing. But I'm watching this band, and they were great and everything, and we talked, and then Texas Hippie Coalition came on. Much like yourselves, I hadn't been familiar with them. Heard the name, but didn't really know the stuff. They came out, and it was just, I mean, Big Dad Rich is a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rado and those guys are bare-chested young guys, hair flying, vintage instruments, killer songs, really tight. So it had that. It smacked me right in the face. I got that feeling when I heard Ten Ton Mojo. That same thing. It's electric, man. It's really, really cool.
Thank you. I mean, first, let me say I'm honored to be in that same group. They're fantastic. We were super excited when we first opened for them, and really honored that we were able to do it a second time. They've, you know, it's the sound we love. It's rock and roll. That's pretty much what drives us and drives our lives. I
Yeah.
don't think I would be still here in this life if it wasn't for rock music. It's pretty much what is it's in my soul. The people talk about, oh, it's hard, and you go through a lot of tough times. There's been bands that I've had up and downs with, but this band, I gotta say, has just been, it's been kind of a straight course up,
Yeah.
and we've been enjoying the hell out of it and just trying to spread our word as much as possible. I know you apologize, but don't apologize. That's it's our we got to get out there, and we got to make sure that we're getting out to people, and some of that is we got some new management. I think Galisa had set this up with you, and she's really getting our name out there more on the advertisement level, which I think we were lacking a little bit, but we were making it out to a lot of shows, which was helping people. When we play in front of people, we generally make fans almost immediately, and it's always good for the merch too afterward.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's how a band survives really now. The other stuff really doesn't it's a calling card kind of, the Spotify's and the even the CDs and stuff. That's helpful, of course, but merch and concert tickets and stuff like that, seeing the band is really the how bands survive.
Oh, 100%. It's definitely not the 90s anymore. I think Spotify kind of not Spotify. Well, Spotify too, but
Yeah.
even though we encourage you to go to Spotify, but
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I would say what was it? Napster kind of ended all that.
Right.
And there's really the royalty level is extremely low unless you're really, really like some of the bands you mentioned earlier, like Leonard Skinner, Allman
Right.
Brothers, those guys are taking it home big time.
Right.
But I would say, yeah, the merch is generally what drives you. It's pre-agreed playing, ticket sales if it's something down to that.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely your music is now more of an advertisement than it is
Right.
a money maker.
Yeah, yeah. The merch puts gas in the bus, no doubt.
Sure
Uh,
does.
the new single, "Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul," the EP from 2023, "Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul."
Yeah.
I gotta ask about that. What came first, the chicken or the egg, kind of thing. Did the song come first and get dropped from the EP, or did you have the title and then write the song after the EP was out? How did that work? What's the significance of that title?
So the latter would be correct. We did write the song after the album. The album was written prior to that. And then as we were actually recording the album, we had started writing that song. So that became
Wow.
the Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul song. We kind of did have ideas down the road. The new CD we have with Rebel Heart on it actually includes the whole last EP. So we kind of grouped them all together in five on the CD. But as far as on Spotify, it is a four-song EP.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And it's a great title. That's one that, you think about, you write it down in the notebook for later.
Yeah.
and when you're writing, you look at it and go, yeah, that's killer.
That's why
It's
we had to have a song out of it too.
totally, totally. And I'm so glad you did because it's a great tune. The writing process for you guys, is it collaborative? Is it a two or three guy thing, that write the songs, and has it changed over the years?
It definitely has changed over the years. I joined the band actually, and when you mentioned the self-titled full album that of 2013.
Right.
That actually is something I'm not a part of. This guy Ernie was the singer at the time. Great guy, great singer.
Yeah.
But they parted ways, and I joined with the band in 2019. Kind of the end of 2018, whereas we got started, but we first
Mhm.
started playing in 2019. And it is definitely a collaborative process. I would say it kind of starts usually with like Scott, me, or Christian. Usually the guitars, usually that's how, vocals and guitars is generally how songs are begun. But
Right.
pretty quickly, it comes into the whole group. Kenny joined us later, I guess. That Christian was joined the band a little before me, and Kenny, the bass player, joined. I want to say 2 years ago,
Okay.
and it added a lot. Like Kenny's songwriting ability is fantastic. so when he gets in there, it's great. And Paul, who's been in the band forever, his arrangements and stuff are just really great. When we like come to the table with something, he's like, okay, well, why don't we do this? And sometimes he'll ask Scott to like change a little something on it, or Christian.
Yeah.
So it really, I will say, it is a very collaborative effect. It begins with the guitars and vocals, but it kind of we all come together in the studio and really work on it as a team.
Man, that's cool. And you're all in the same room, right? Yep.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
really
Right.
old school.
It is. I mean, even when we record, I got to say, we use Max Norman, who is a legend all of himself. If anybody is not familiar with Max Norman, he did everything that
Good
Ozzy
Lord.
Osbourne is pretty much attached to, just about,
Yeah.
and plenty else. I think Lynch Mob and plenty other bands as well.
Yeah.
But this board behind me that I'm using as a background is where we record, and we will be in the big live room with it. And he's actually used a lot of my vocals from the scratch track, so it actually is a lot of that stuff is just us in the room playing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has that feel. It has that raw kind of primal thing. And there's little dips in it's not perfect. It's got those little things, and that's what I love. I'm in the room with you guys when I listen.
I'm glad you said that too, because one of those things that I can't stand with some studio, and God bless them, this is the industry we're in now, and we're moving into a more digital age. But that imperfection is part of what is missing from rock and roll, and has been for
Yeah.
years. I think it's not a zeros and ones type of
Right.
music. It's a
It's
I think
human.
John Bonham played for 7/8 for just a small, like just a bar or a measure in Stairway to Heaven, and a lot of people say that's one of the things that really tied the song and made it one of the greatest songs ever. And,
Yeah.
things like that are magic. It's not, you can't really put your finger on it. It's intangible. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, especially with the music that you guys play and this music, this rock and roll thing, it's not perfection and rigid and zeros and ones like you say. It's very human. I don't want to listen to the board alone. I want the board to help the human, the musician. So I mean, you got to keep that humanity, that human factor in there. And of course, Max is he's the best at it.
He's a legend.
Wow, is he so great? Yeah, I want to get into Max in a little bit. But I look at the material that you guys have, and you've been around. The band is in existence 2010. That first record 2013, of course. Now you've come later in 2018, 19 there. Um, but over those years, and of course you came in right when COVID, we had the COVID couple of years there. But there's singles. It doesn't seem like you're maybe not interested in a full length record, or you have the EP, and it's a singles world for sure. But you guys are kind of old school, so I look at it and I kind of expect to see another record, a ebb and flow journey through the peaks and valleys kind of thing, with you guys being a little bit of old school. Why haven't we gotten a second record over that period of time? It's a pretty long period of time, 12 years since the first one.
Well, we got the live one out, which we did put out,
Right.
but that's obviously just a live show that we did. It was like our CD release for the Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul EP. You did touch on it kind of. I mean, the industry nowadays is very much now. We need things immediately, and it takes a
Mhm.
little while to put down an album.
Sure.
So we've kind of decided on EPs. Where I think the next one's going to be a little bit of a larger EP,
Okay.
close to something that could be considered an LP, but. I would say the reason we went with singles, one, during the pandemic, it was everybody was online.
Right.
It was just kind of the thing to do. You have something new, it kind of draws people's attention. But it does seem to be something that when we did it, we pivoted to it. We kind of realized that it was a smart move. It does help the numbers. It helped kind of get us out there. I do know we all talk about making something full length. We need to kind of I guess have the opportunity to do that. Right now, we're still kind of pushing ourselves out there. Like you
Mhm.
kind of said, like, it's still something you just heard of. So we need to have a good amount of singles, I guess, to be able to push and have videos. And that's kind of the other part is it's become a very visual end of things now. So the
Yep.
videos are important. So you kind of have to have, that whole thing, and all that takes a lot of time. I'd say videos especially, getting all
Yeah.
that together and putting it's a lot of work.
Yeah, no doubt. And another thing, I love the full length record, and like I say, I love that journey through the peaks and valleys and all of that. But it takes more time, and to get, some stuff might get lost. Where the one thing hits pretty hard, and you kind of people tend to not listen to the rest, uh, which I don't
Exactly.
understand really, but
It's just kind of a thing that I guess, the age of, I guess, the full album, so you put on the record, which we do enjoy. Hold on one second.
yeah,
The age of the record is pretty much over. So like, you don't, and I was actually just kind of interrupted there, but we do release vinyl as well, but we also pretty much only go with 45s right now as a
okay,
result of that.
yeah,
Because no one's really leaving that whole thing on, aside from the fact that they don't have time to do it. It just becomes something that I guess has been fairly obsolete. I mean, I don't like that personally. I I'm somebody that absolutely listens to, the full thing, front to back,
right,
flipping it over, B side. I mean, I'm a big fan of like talking about B side music,
yeah,
but it's something I guess on an industry level that we've come to agree on it, somewhat. There's still arguments in the band, and we all want to have something like that because it is kind of the style our forefathers, I guess, for lack of a better word, but our
right.
predecessors that we look up to, they all did stuff like that. So it's definitely something that we want to have.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Max Norman, one of the greatest producers ever. The first two Ozzy albums, Armored Saints, Delirious Nomad, which is one of my favorite records. Megadeth, he mixed Rust in Peace for Christ's sake. Uh,
Yeah.
this guy, um, he's a major firepower to have his name on what you're doing. Um, Tell me about the relationship with Max Norman, and because you guys had, I mean, you had Matt Starr, a musician, Phil Cavano from Monster Magnet, another musician behind the glass. Is it a different experience with Max? I don't know if Max plays. I've never heard of him playing like actually in a band or anything like that. So there is there a different element with Max that you might get something different than if you're with a musician, in the studio.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're with a musician, there's sometimes they can fill in and do stuff kind of on their own. But I'd say Max has just a brilliance, is really all I would call it. Like some stuff sometimes, I mean, he's actually just kind of given us great ideas for bridges. Sometimes just a little change is something you're going to do that just really like, oh, hey, why don't you do that one, a half step higher, for this time, around.
Right.
Just little stuff that really kind of is like magic, and that's really what you have a producer for.
Yeah.
So it's the reason we've kind of continued with him, and we really do love continuing with him. Aside from the fact that his name holds a lot of clout, he's very good at what he does. There's a reason his name holds a lot of clout. He's
No doubt.
he's a magician.
No doubt. I mean, I look at these records on, that he's done, and they're all like my favorite records, like all of them. Like, I mean, it's just like everything he does is just magical, man. Is amazing, and it's so cool to have him doing you guys for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see him again. He's since moved out of New York, but we're flying him up from Florida, where he's living now. And think we're supposed to go back in possibly shorter. We were just talking, maybe doing. Actually, it's funny. It just came up recently that might be heading back into the studio earlier because we have been writing. We got a bunch of stuff together, but we were working on like the more lengthy thing, but it's
Right.
again, as the industry calls, they need stuff immediately, and it's like, all right, this is what we're
Yep.
gonna have to do potentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Um, I look on the YouTube page, which is great. There's live clips on there and there's the videos on there, of course. But I see a couple things that I don't see on studio versions. 99 Pounds of Soul, Quick Whiskey. Do you have a vault of songs like those that you might want to get into that board a little bit?
we do. It's funny. The last EP was almost an LP, and we do have some of those songs on there. It's just the time we didn't really have to put them out there. And since then, we've had changes. I guess we have a new bass player, and the songs kind of took on a little more evolution as well.
Mhm.
So they would probably need to be re-recorded, but they're definitely those two that you mentioned actually are ones that we have actually talked about putting on the next either a full length LP or EP as well, depending on whether we need it or not. We're working feverishly on new stuff, and we do actually have a bunch of new stuff because we've been kind of taking a little not time off from gigging, but way less than we usually would be gigging.
Yeah, yeah, and those those are great songs. So I'm excited about that, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we get a lot of feedback on 99 pounds. I would wager you're going to probably hear that on something
man.
soon.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And I know you guys like the vintage instruments. Christian's playing a 1960 Les Paul. Through Marshalls, of course. There's that, and I got that from Texas Hippie as well. These guys came out, and they're just the instruments fit the sound. It was just this kind of it's just a raw thing. It's primal, man. And those kinds of instruments really take me back. And there's the newer stuff's great, but there's nothing like that tone of a 1960 Les Paul. uh
Oh no,
it,
there's those vintage. There's a reason that people long for those types of instruments. I mean, it's
yeah,
the sound, the wood, the tone. It's
yeah.
light years from some of the stuff that's been taken. I mean, and I'll say even 10, 20 years ago, some of that stuff's really good too. But I mean, when
Mhm.
you go really deep into those, 70s, 60s guitars, it's, even the pedals, some of that stuff, the
Yeah.
vintage pedals and stuff, they're making some guys that like kind of get some good new stuff. But I mean, some things are just irreplaceable.
Yeah, yeah. And I know it's important for you guys to get that, right? I mean, like when you go into the studio, we hear those instruments. You're not getting the latest greatest technology to make it, synthetic to grab that sound that you want. You're working with those analog type things to get that tone.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the studio, that I'm got the picture behind me for at SST, they
Mhm.
actually use an analog um, reverb, which I've never
Wow.
even seen besides at that place. I mean, I'm pretty sure John Lennon was recording out of this place. Used to be the old Record Plant Studios, so it
Oh,
has a
really?
lot of the it has a lot of the old stuff still in there. Tubed, tubed mics, even just really ancient, almost equipment that is timeless. That you can
Yeah.
really you, you can't really get that sound without them sometimes. And it's one of the reasons we really prefer that studio and almost strictly will be recording there.
Man, it's so cool. I love that. I love the fact that you bring those on the road. When you play, are you playing those? I mean, it's kind of dangerous to take those. I mean, they're antiques, very expensive instruments to cart around and abuse, so to speak. Um, do you play all of those vintage stuff when you play live?
The guitars, yeah, they're using real vintage stuff, and even some of the pedals as well. I know the bass player has got some really crazy older stuff too.
Yeah.
Penny, excuse me. But yeah, Christian and Scott are both using some older stuff, and Paul's got some Ludwig drum sets that are pretty old as well. I mean, so we definitely are rocking some vintage stuff. I will say I don't really roll with much. I just got my SM50, so I go a little newer with the SM58 Beta. I think
Okay.
they do well with that on the live end, and plus it's just a fairly indestructible mic. I move around a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's great to see. I love it. And I love the harmonica. We get quite a bit of harmonica from you, man. I love it, man. Um, and I miss that. I'm a big Sabbath fan, and the reason that there's many reasons I love Sabbath, but I loved that harmonica stuff, like on the Wizard in the first record, and there was, but it tapered off, and it kind of disappeared from the sound of the band a little bit, and we don't get a whole lot of harmonica in the harder rock metal genre. You guys do that, and so I guess my question with it is, do you, when you're writing, do you try to incorporate the harmonica into it, or is it just a feel thing? Hey, our harmonica would be good here.
Yeah, more the latter. I mean, we do, there's definitely songs I think that I like. There's one that we were working on with a title, and I'm not sure really what's going on with it right now. It's we got to kind of come back to it, but something called Smokestack Hijack. And that one, the idea, kind of start off with like a train whistle, like harmonica
Yeah.
type thing like that. But it's more of the field, more the latter of what you said. It's more like, we're saying, hey, harmonica might be good in this. And like a couple of the new tunes, we kind of start off with a little harmonica intro,
Mhm.
then throw it a little in somewhere else. I know in it wasn't actually initially part of Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul, but if you notice in like kind of the end, we're like, jamming out and stuff, there is actually some harmonica mixed in with that.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love those little flavors in there. It doesn't have to be in the forefront, but it gives. It's kind of like the wine of the B3. You know what I mean? It's like it
Yes.
doesn't have to. You don't have to play a solo with it. You just have it there, and it fills out the song. And you do that with the harmonica. I love it, man. I love it.
And the B3 is also something we like to use. The engineer actually at SST, he's helped us out a little bit. That would be the musician in the room. So we kind of do have the best of both worlds with Max. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's great. I love that kind of stuff. It just gives it all that flavor, and it fits you guys so well too. Um, I think about that. I'm going to turn somebody on to Ten Ton Mojo. What do I play for them? Because I hear things like broke some hearts in Memphis. It's got all the elements. It's got the backup singers and stuff, the voices, the female voice thing in the background. I love that. Uh,
It's my favorite, to be honest. I love Broke Some Hearts. That's my favorite tune.
yeah, I have to say mine too. Probably there's so many I like, but it's just got it all. It's got that old Skinner feel, and it's a little dirty, and I love it all. So, but I'm thinking to myself, that would be my choice probably to play first for somebody. Hey, this is the band. This is Ten Ton Mojo. Listen to this. What would you choose that song to hear first for somebody?
I mean, I would. I guess just because that's more a bias, but I'd say the one that I know that people are, usually kind of flock to initially is Carmelita.
Yeah,
That
that's
song
killer.
definitely, yeah, it's got, it's a great tune.
Yeah.
It's a great driving song, I like to say. You know what I mean? When you're, just driving a car, it just kind of like has that, whoa, I need to like put some pedal down.
No doubt.
Um, I would probably go for more of a video song, maybe like Easy Come, Easy Go, which
Great.
has done really well for us on YouTube and also incorporates the backup singers and some harmonica. So you're getting a little of everything in that one as well.
Yep.
And just since it's the new single, I would also Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul would
Yeah.
probably be that one's the one we're pushing currently. So that,
Yeah, yeah, and it's great. I mean, all those songs you mentioned are just you can go anywhere with this band. It's pretty great. It's all killer. Uh, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on a stage. Yeah, I'm in the Chicagoland area. What's touring look like for you guys? Are you yeah, and that's the whole semantics of that is very. All of that is very difficult and expensive and all of that. And, we would need to realize that, but I'd love to see it here in Chicago. So what's touring look like?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Chicago. We made it out to Michigan on one run this year, so we kind of made kind of back, just easier stuff on the way back, like PA. Made our way through PA, but um, we did Texas. We did run down to Texas. So I mean, we hit up some pretty far spots that went led us to Florida,
Yeah,
and then back up. But I would say something along the lines of when we do Michigan possibly next year, we could definitely like do something in Chicago. We got to like you're saying, it is tough. We got to find the venues, we got to find the places willing to like,
yeah,
there's a certain amount of, I guess, minimum amount that we can play for when we're on the road because, like you were saying, you got to fill up the bus.
yeah.
But merch can help with that as long as we have kind of a established show that's covering a decent amount in the beginning. We can sometimes take some on the way back and on the road. And Chicago is definitely something that I've always wanted to. I mean, Chicago's the home of the blues,
Right.
which as a both a singer and a harmonica player is something near and dear to me.
Yeah, yeah, and there's still a lot of it here, which is really cool. We embrace it, and that's great. I'm really proud of us, for doing that. Because over the years, things get lost or forgotten about, but we love our blues here for sure. Yeah, Dave, man, I can't wait to see you, man. Hopefully it'll be soon. You guys get a chance to tour around. It would be fantastic. Where can we find out all the tour dates, things like that?
Well, you can go to our website, self-titled website, www.tentonmojo.com. That will lead you to everything we got. Our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our Spotify. All those links are on there. We're on all streaming networks. From everything from Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Deezer, whatever that is. Really, I don't even know, but I know we're
Right.
on it. I think we're on just about everything besides Pandora. But
Yep,
yeah, you hit up the website and you can get links to everything, info, shows, merchandise, the whole shebang.
it's great. Yeah, and there'll be links down below. Everybody can check it out, man. Dave, thanks so much for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Hey Scott, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Man, absolutely. Anytime. My door's always open for. Take care, Dave.
You too.